Okay, let me focus this a little bit. We're now on the second page of problems. We're going to do problem number 5. It says, Mrs. Edison's electric bill for the month of February showed a total of 640 kilowatt hours. Her bill was $128. Okay, so let's do part A. How much dollars per kilowatt hour? So this one I'm just going to set up. I have dollars, I have kilowatt hour. So if I want to know how many dollars per kilowatt hour, I'm just going to set this up, and that equals $0.20 per kilowatt hour. I'm just going to set that up straight up like that. Okay, now B. If Mrs. Edison used the same amount of electricity for the entire year, because we know that this was in the month of February, that's 1 month of energy, so you could say this is 0.20 kilowatt hour per month. How many megawatts would her family use? So I'm going to take 640 kilowatt hours, and I'm going to do that. This is per month, right? So I'm going to say there are 12 months in 1 year. So that is going to give me 7,680 kilowatt hour. All right, but it wants megawatt hour. So what I've got to do is I've got to convert this to megawatt hour. Now this is how I do it. I am going to get rid of kilowatt hour, right? And I want to go to megawatt hour. And I don't really know how many megawatt hours are on a kilowatt hour. If you do, and you know by exponents of 3 how to do that, you can do that. But what I like to do is go through my base unit, because I know how many watts are in a kilowatt and how many watts are in a megawatt. I know that. I have to memorize that. So that's how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to say that 1 kilowatt hour is 1,000 watts, but I don't want watts, I want megawatts. And I know that there are 1 times 10 to the 6 megawatts in 1, or watts in 1 megawatt. That way, all I have to memorize are these conversions, and I don't have to go in between from one to another. So when I do that, and I put that in there, then I get 7.68 megawatt hour instead. All right, a therm is a unit of measure for Mrs. Schertz's natural gas usage, which was 74 therms for the month of March. 49 therms were charged at the baseline charge, and 29 therms were charged at the over baseline charge of 98 cents per therm, which means her bill was divided. Part of the month she had to pay one rate, part of the month she had to pay another rate. What was the total price of the natural gas for the month? So what I've got to do is I've got to add these two together, right? Because I've got part of the month at this rate and part of the month at this rate. Add the two values together, and that will give me my total cost. Okay? So what I'm going to do is say 49 therms is what I had, but I want to go from therms to dollars. And that equals $36.26. Then I've got 25 therms, but it's at a different rate. I have therms at the bottom. Sorry, that was 1 therm. 1 therm is, in this case, 98 cents. That equals $24.50. Add these two together, and I get $60.76. Box my answer. Okay. Now B says there are 4 people living in her home. How many therms per capita? All right. Well, how many therms total did I have? 49 plus 29, 5 therms, right? Total, which is 74. if I have 74 therms, how many is that going to be in terms of people? So I have therms here. Okay, sorry, that was 4 people for each one. So that's 74 divided by 4, which is going to be 18.5 therms per person. Okay, next problem. Peter and his friends want to take a road trip to Yellowstone National Park this summer. Yellowstone is 1,000 miles from Saugus one way. He gets, and notice this, one way. His car gets 20 miles per gallon and gas costs $4 per gallon. How much will gasoline cost round trip? All right, so the first thing I've got to do is find out how many miles I'm going to go, then how many gallons of gas I'm going to use, and then convert that to dollars. So that's the process. So I'm going to do all of it in one full swoop. So I've got 1,000 miles one way, but I'm going to go twice. I've got to go there back, right? Because it wants to know how much will the gas cost round trip. Okay? Now, I also know that I can take miles and convert to gallons. So I can take miles, that will get rid of miles, and go to gallon. And my conversion is, I've got 20 miles, right? 20 mpg is 20 miles per 1 gallon. Okay? Then that's going to be, I can convert gallons, don't want that, to dollars. And the value is 1 gallon is $4. So altogether, that is $400. You may want to do this part in 2 pieces. You can do that as well. All right. Now, for part B, it says Peter thinks that renting a more fuel-efficient car might be better. The rental gets 50 miles per gallon, but it costs $250 to rent. So we're going to see if we can offset this savings in gas mileage and be able to afford the car. So how much would the total round trip, there it is again, cost including the rental car? So here we go again. We're going to do 1,000 miles. This is such a typical AP problem. But we're going to go there and back. But this time, instead of, we have 50 mpg. So I'm going to take miles, and I'm going to go to gallons. That allows me to get rid of that. But in this case, I have 50 miles in 1 gallon. But my gallon to dollar is still the same. 1 gallon is $4, so that's $160. Now, if you notice, my gas price is terrific. I have really saved several $100s in gas from $400 to $160, but I've got to tack on that rental car cost, and if I do that, I get $410. So in this case, although you have great gas savings, you do pay a little extra because you pay for the car rental. Okay, this is the last problem of this video. I've got a nuclear power plant near San Diego that was recently decommissioned or shut down. When it was operating, it produced about 2,000 megawatts. That's its power. If the power plant ran for 24 hours a day, how many, there's my energy value, megawatt hours did it produce each month? So remember, we're going to do power times time to get megawatt hours. So let's start with A, 2,000 megawatts times 24 hours per day. So now I've got my power per day, but I don't want days. It says I want month. So I'm going to take day, convert it to month. 30 days is 1 month. In general, I know you've got Some months are 28 days, some are 31. In general, if they ask for days to month, it's going to be, the value will be 30. That turns out to be 1,440,000 megawatt hour per day. Right, and I'm going to box my answer. All right, so now it says, if an average home uses 1,000 kilowatt hours per month, how many homes did it provide electricity for in a month? All right, so the average home makes this much, but notice that my values are in megawatts. So the first thing I got to do, if I'm going to compare the two, is I'm going to take my 1,000 kilowatt hour per month, and I'm going to convert that to megawatts. Now remember, I like to go through my base unit, kilowatt hour to watt. 1 kilowatt is 1,000. Watt to megawatt. 1 times 10 to the 6 watts is 1 megawatt. So that is equal to 1 megawatt hour. So that means that is equal to 1 home, I should say. All right. So what I want to do then is, that means 1 megawatt hour is 1 home. So if I have 1,440,000 megawatt hours, I have 1,440,000 homes.